Hey everyone! Today we're going to dive into the world of the 64 squares and checkmate some of the biggest myths about chess. So, you've probably heard this one a million times, right? To be good at chess, you have to be some kind of super genius. Someone with a photographic memory who just sees the world in numbers and patterns. It's a really intimidating idea, and honestly, it's probably kept a lot of people from ever even trying the game.
This idea of chess being a game for mad geniuses has been around for centuries. It's built up this whole legend, this mystique of players with almost superhuman intellect. And yeah, that makes the game feel super intimidating, totally unapproachable for the rest of us.
But what if that legend isn't the whole story? Well, that's what we're here to do. We're going to break down those walls of elitism and really get into the much more interesting and way more accessible reality of what it truly takes to play and, really love chess.
All right, let's jump right in. First up, we're tackling the myths of the mind. And this is where we get into maybe the biggest misconception of all, the idea that chess is just a pure measure of raw intelligence. Yeah, this is the classic one, right? The ultimate gatekeeping myth. The idea that you have to be born a genius just to even have a shot. But what's so fascinating is that the science, it just doesn't back this up. Not at all.
So the myth says you need to be some kind of math whiz, right? But the reality is it's all about pattern recognition. Seriously, the best players in the world, they're not calculating these insane equations in their heads. Nope. They're just experts at recognizing thousands and thousands of familiar shapes and structures on the board.
And get this, studies actually show that expert chess players don't have a higher general IQ than the average person. What they do have is this thing called specialized memory. It's something they've built up through thousands of hours of practice. They see the board in, chunks of information, not just 32 separate pieces. It is absolutely a skill you build, not a gift you're born with.
Okay, so next up, the myth of the perfect player. You know what I'm talking about? We watch these top grandmasters play these just unbelievable games, and we kind of assume they're like robots, right? Just executing a perfect series of moves with zero errors.
But the truth is, so much more human, and honestly, way more exciting. High-level chess isn't two machines playing a perfect game. It's a brutal game of psychological pressure between two people. And trust me, under that kind of pressure, anyone can crack. I mean, even the absolute best in the world. We're talking Magnus Carlsen, Garry Kasparov. They make mistakes. They're dealing with insane time pressure. Their opponent throws some wild, creative move at them. They even suffer from chess blindness. You know that baffling moment where you just miss something completely obvious? They even mouse slip in online games. It's that human element that really makes the game so incredible to watch.
So this all leads perfectly into our next section, myths of the machine. This is where we're going to dig into how chess players really think versus how we imagine they do.
Ah, yes. The old 20 moves ahead fallacy. It's so common. We picture a grandmaster's brain like it's this supercomputer, just mapping out every single possible future on the board. But the reality is, so much more efficient, and frankly, a lot smarter than that. This is where a concept called candidate moves comes into play. See, instead of trying to calculate everything, an expert uses their intuition, which, remember, is built from all that pattern recognition we talked about, and it instantly filters out all the garbage moves. They don't see 50 options. They see the 2, maybe 3, that actually matter. It's all about focused, selective thinking, not just raw, brute force calculation. There's this great quote from the famous grandmaster Richard Rady that just sums it up perfectly. It really isn't about the quantity of moves you can see, it's about the quality. It's about finding that one single best move. And that comes from deep understanding and intuition, not just number crunching.
Okay, now for a more modern myth. With these unbelievably powerful chess engines like Stockfish that can just crush any human player, a lot of people feel like computers have kind of taken the soul out of the game, that there's just no room left for human creativity.
But what's actually happened is pretty much the exact opposite. Instead of killing the game, AI has become this incredible tool for discovery.
It's shown us that these weird, ugly-looking moves, these wild attacks, ideas that humans were once too afraid to even try, can be completely winning. So far from ending creativity, AI has kicked off a whole new golden era of it.
All right, for our final section, let's look at some myths of the board. These are the common misconceptions that really trip up beginners and kind of distort what the game is really about.
And here's a big one: the memorization trap. So many new players spend hundreds of hours just trying to memorize these super complex opening lines. They think it's the secret key to winning. But then, as soon as their opponent plays one move they don't recognize, they're completely lost.
The thing is, understanding beats memorization every single time. If you just focus on these 3 core principles, you'll be able to navigate almost any opening. It's all about understanding why you're making a move, not just knowing what the book says.
Ah, the queen, the most powerful piece on the board. It's so natural to think that if you lose her, well, game over. Time to resign. But let me tell you, this is one of the most exciting myths to bust.
It all comes down to a concept called compensation. Sometimes, giving up your queen for, say, a rook and a bishop isn't a blunder. It's a brilliant, winning idea. Suddenly, you have these coordinated pieces that can just overwhelm your opponent's defenses in a way the queen, all by herself, never could. So no, losing the queen isn't always the end. Sometimes it's the beginning of a truly beautiful attack.
So we've debunked all these myths. What are we left with? What is chess really about? If it's not about being a genius or a human calculator or a memorization machine.
Well, I think ultimately chess is a language. Once you learn the alphabet, how the pieces move, and the grammar of tactics, you can start telling your own stories on the board. It teaches you really valuable stuff like how to lose and learn from it, how to manage your time, how to stay calm under pressure. It's not about being a robot at all. It's about expressing your character, your own unique style.
Look, these myths, they really only exist to keep people away from a beautiful game. The board doesn't care what your IQ is, it doesn't care how old you are. So, my advice, stop worrying about being a genius and just be a player. It's time to checkmate the myths and just play the game.